You may come to a point in your life where you're at the end of a rope, and the only thing left to do is to climb up, because you only can do so much for so long. But make sure you're doing much more instead of doing less. Stop stressing about the things that you cannot control and start focusing on the things that you have control of. Take control of your life. Take control of the opportunities. Believe in yourself and know that it is not over for you. So many people out there in this world right now will try to tell you not to be something that you feel in your heart that you want to be.
Shoaff said, here's the secret, Mr. Rohn. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Once I got that, it turned my life around. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. He said, if you work hard on your job, you'll make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. If you would have known me at age 25, you would have said, Jim Rohn's a hard worker. If you'd have known me, you'd have said that. I'm the guy, I don't mind coming a little bit early, staying a little bit late, I don't mind that. You'd have said, well, Jim Rohn's a hard worker. You say, well, how come he's got pennies in his pocket and nothing in the bank and behind on his promises? Well, I was a hard worker, but I was working hard on my job, not on myself. I'm telling you, if you'll learn that simple little principle and start the process today, latest tomorrow, I'll give you tonight to think it over.
There will be plenty of opportunities to get discouraged, to lose your passion, and think that it's not meant to be. But if you're going to reach your destiny, you have to have a made-up mind. If you give up after the first time, or the 5th time, or the 30th time, what that really means is you didn't want it bad enough. There should be something you're believing for that you are relentless. You are not moved by how impossible it looks. You're not discouraged by how long it's taking. You don't give up because people told you no. Your attitude is, if I have to believe my whole life, I am not going to stop believing. I am not going to take no for an answer. I'm not going to settle for mediocrity. I'm going to keep pursuing what's in my heart.
And ask ourselves, what do I really want? What do I really want? And write it down. Writing causes thinking. Thinking creates an image. And you get these images going, you're building a vision in your mind. It's the visionaries that's changed the world. Think of that.
You think like a kid who came from poverty. You think like a kid whose mama had him at 17 years old. That's how you think. You're not wired to be who you've been called to be. What you need to think is not how you see the world, but what you need to see is how the world sees you. And the world doesn't see you as a 10,000 kid. The world sees you as much bigger. And when you can see yourself as the world sees you and not how you see yourself, that's when you're gonna go to another level. Let me tell you something. You got it. When you walk out of here, the way you see yourself is the problem. It's always a result of a commitment to excellence, intelligent planning, and focused effort. You're not going to be the best. You're not going to catch the best if you're not intentional and deliberate. And there are those of you in your space, and whatever you're trying to do, you don't even represent the best in your space, and you're still not giving 120. You're trying to catch the guy, you're trying to catch the female, that's the best. And you're waking up and giving me 70%, you're giving me 80%, but yet you have these dreams that you're gonna be the best. How?
You're gonna fall into areas that you cannot understand. And maybe it's not in the position for you to understand at that moment. When you start to feel that you are in a position that you don't love your life, then shame on you, because your life is a beautiful thing. And no one deserves to ruin it. No one deserves to control it. No one deserves to steal your joy. Your life is your life, and you have the right to live it the best way you can. You must discipline yourself and take full control and responsibility for the outcome or whatever it is that you are seeking at this moment.
Work on yourself. Make yourself more valuable to the marketplace. I'm telling you, you can so dynamically change your income, and economics is the least of the values that you can start earning in terms of equity if you'll start working harder on yourself than you do on your job. Work hard on develop the skills. Work hard on yourself and develop the graces. All of the stuff necessary to become more valuable to the marketplace. I'm telling you, your whole life can explode into change. Promotions, no problem. Becoming more valuable to the company, I'm telling you, no problem. Money, no problem. Economics, no problem. Future, no problem. If you just go to work on the right thing. Not get things out there to change. Don't try to change the seed. Don't change the soil. Don't change the sunshine. Don't change the rain. Don't change the mix of seasons. Let the miracle of everything that's available work for you, and start working on the inside. Work on your philosophy. Work on your attitude. Work on your personality. Work on your language. Work on the gift of communication. Work on all of your abilities. And if you'll start making those personal changes, I'm telling you, everything will change.
The body has limitations. The mind does not. We focus so much on what goes on from the neck down that we forget it all starts from here. Everything starts from here. If you're not mentally ready, you're never really physically prepared. And that's where the preparation starts.
What would your life be like as you look toward the future if you decided, I'm not going to allow my fears to stop me? And I'm saying to you, whatever you got to do, do it, because if you don't, life is going to whoop you until you surrender.
So when you're young and you make mistakes, don't let them eat you up. Because everybody that done made it. You got to fail in order to win. Hey, look, man, to understand how to hit the game-winning shot, you got to miss the game-winning shot. You know, you got to be tough, because the road to success is always under construction. It's never a clear path to success. The people who become successful are the people who have a relentless attitude.
You're still watching TV. Somebody said, Eric, have you not seen in America, everybody? Have you not seen Scandal? You must watch Scandal. It's the best sitcom ever. Have you not seen Scandal? I said, it's a scandal. I'm not watching it. It's a scandal. I'm not watching it. Come on at 10 o'clock at night. I'm in the bed. I gotta wake up and make my scandal become a reality. This is Scandal. I can't watch this. So I'll go home and say, Scandal was great. But I did Scandal on my time on my way to Australia. I didn't do Scandal when I'm trying to catch Jim Rohn. I didn't do Scandal where I'm trying to learn from John Maxwell or from my friend Les Brown. I'm not watching Scandal. So you got to do me a huge favor, and I'm asking you to do me a favor. When you leave today, I want you to look at some things that you're doing, the 30% now, or the 20%, or the 10%, and I'm gonna need you to let it go.
Now, here's the thing, couple things. You gotta make a decision. Listen to me. You gotta make a decision. What's the decision? What's the thing you came here for? Now we're at the moment. The clock is ticking. People say all the time, hey, life is short. Let me tell you something. Life can be long. You bury your dreams, you quit this, life gets long. See, time's relative. 2 minutes of you being with your sweetie, doing whatever you like to do with them, that can go by quick, right? What's about the last 2 minutes on a treadmill? Does that not seem like it goes by for like 4 hours, right? So if you're enjoying it, it's short. If it's painful, it's long. Life can be long. You want a life that feels like it's flying by. You want a life like I have right now where I go, can I just press pause? Can I just press pause? It's so good. It's so great. It's so rewarding. It's so awesome. But I don't really want to press pause because I know it can get better. So what's the decision? What have you been sitting on? What is it? Is it, people are texting me, hey Ed, I submitted my resignation last night. I'm coming full time. I walked away from a 6-figure job. Is that the decision? Is it the decision to finally get serious? Is it the decision to get licensed? Is it the decision to stop worrying about what people think? Is it the decision to become a great closer? Is it the decision to something in a relationship you have you need to get out or into? It's only a thought if you don't take an action. The difference between a thought and a decision is an action. So we know, and you just decided, and you know what it is. You know what it is. You will have really decided if within this next hour you took some step towards it. Something. A note you write, a text you send, a decision you've made, something you do that you follow up with the action to make it real.
So he comes down to the Jordan. This time it's the Jordan, not the Red Sea. The conditions have changed, but it's still the same thing. The water is the obstacle. And he comes down to the water with the promise of God. And he comes to the Jordan River and nothing happens. This is the moment. This is the moment that proves the authenticity of his leadership. This is the moment that he gets the public validation of a majestical move of God that shuts every mouth as to the authenticity of his calling. And he comes down to the brink of the swelling Jordan, and nothing happens. And the priests are behind him, and the people are behind him, and the promise of God is before him, and nothing happens. What do you do when it's your moment and nothing happens? What do you do after fighting to get to the door and you finally get to the door and nothing happens? What do you do when it's your moment and it doesn't work? This text is not about what worked. It's about what didn't. If God was going to do with him what he did with Moses, he should have gotten to the edge of the Jordan, raised up his rod, and the waters went hither and thither. He walked to the edge of the swelling Jordan, and nothing happened. Can you imagine what the crowd was saying behind him? Can't you almost feel the beating of his heart and the rushing of blood to his face, because he has told him that God was with him? And still there is no move from heaven. There is no wind. There is no blowing. There is no water parting. Everything is acting as if he had no anointing at all. It is in this moment that he must decide what you must decide right now. This moment in your life that you have come down to a critical point and nothing is happening, you have to decide, are you going to tuck your tail and turn your head and go back? Or are you going to step down into the water? Now God said, as I was with Moses, so shall I be with you. But he didn't say, I'm going to do with you what I did with Moses. He just said, I'm going to be with you as I was with Moses. So he had to step down into the water. My God, look at his faith. Suppose nothing happens.
When I think about the three pillars of something that would be your anchor, a foundation to drive you into the future, to live a big dream, to live a big life, a mindset, what you think about, you bring about. You know, as a man thinketh, so is he. Dr. Carter G. Woodson said that if you can determine what a man shall think, you never have to concern yourself with what he will do. He said, if you can make a man feel inferior, you never have to compel him to seek an inferior status, for he will seek it himself. And if you can make a man feel justly an outcast, you never have to order him to go to the back door. He'll go without being told. If there's no door, his very nature will demand one. And I think that in many cases, governments and religious institutions have really unwittingly crushed the dreams and aspirations and the visions that people had of themselves. Not all, but a lot of them. And I think it's incumbent upon the individual to take responsibility, to develop yourself, to expand your mind, your vision, to seek out experiences. You know, Helen Keller said life should be a daring adventure, it's boring. And start to dream. What do you want? What do you really want for your life? I remember going to Auschwitz and walking down the halls in the Nazi German concentration camps and seeing the pictures of men and women who had dreams. These people were exterminated. And one of the things that I heard in my mind when I reflected on a book written by Viktor Frankl, who was there, he said, if you know the why for living, you can endure almost anyhow. And he talked about the people who were able to survive the inexpressible cruelties of Nazism, those who either believed in God or had someone that they loved that they were determined to see, or some cause bigger than themselves. And in my case, my goal was to buy my mother a home. That was my big dream. And that caused me to read things and to listen to things, to fuel my imagination. And then to develop my skills to becoming a voice of influence. And the other thing that's important is creating a community of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. And it started with a man, Mr. Washington, who said, a high school teacher, someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. It could start with one person, and then it goes from there. I started associating with people who were doing what I wanted to do. I joined a multi-level marketing group called Best Line Products. When I heard the voice of a guy that when he spoke, it seemed like he was talking to me. I was in a hotel at a convention and Bill Bailey spoke and he was selling this dream. I didn't even know the products, but I wanted to be a part of it. And what I found, and one of the great things about multi-level marketing, is that it puts you in a community of other like-minded people. I think that's the value and the power of associations of different kinds. Associating with people who share your values, associating with people, like-minded people who have dreams, who have goals that they're working on, and being in that community.
Worry will make you weak. Living stressed out will make you old, give you wrinkles, take your passion. Being bitter, angry, resentful will shorten your life. Proverbs says a relaxed attitude lengthens life. You can be 80 years old and young at heart. Your spirit never ages.
The fear of failing holds a lot of us back. No one likes to fail, but the truth is, whether we like to fail or not, failing is an important part of life. It's impossible to go through life without experiencing some kind of failure. With that, taking risks is very important. I want you all to think of failing not as a bad way, but as a way of learning.
I've gotten rid of all my problems because I have a choice. Nobody wants to hang out with negative, dark, and dysfunctional people. I've gotten rid of all things, people, and situations that I don't f with, including certain people in my family. I don't need no negative energy, homie. I want to wake up every day and smile and enjoy my life. I've been through enough shit, man. Nobody wakes up and signs up for dysfunction. Who does that?
Good intentions are worthless. Worthless, folks. When are you going to fall out of love with good intentions? Good intentions are worthless unless they lead to good actions. Nobody ever had their life changed by somebody hoping, thinking. Good intentions are not enough.
I want you to be afraid of failing. I fear failure. But more important, I want you to be terrified of sitting on your ass and doing nothing. That is what I want you to be afraid of waking up in 6 days or 6 weeks or 6 years or 60 years and being no closer to your goal. You've made no progress. That is the horror. That is the nightmare. That is what you need to be truly afraid of. Take the risk, take the gamble, take the first step, take action.
Don't let the fear of failure hold you back. Maybe you want to write a book. Maybe you want to start a podcast, or maybe you want to get your master's. Go out there and fail, but continue to bounce back. And don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid not to try.
Failure should not become a prison house where you're held hostage the rest of your life by your mistakes. Your mistakes are not final. Your failure is not final. You might have made a mistake, but you're not one. You might have failed, but you're not a failure. You might be down, but down is not your destiny.
I have failed far more times than I've succeeded. You will never succeed more than you fail. That's not how it works. Failure is a part of the process to becoming successful. You know why? Because failure is a wonderful teacher. I tell people this all the time. Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player in the world, he took 946 game-winning shots. 946 times since he was in high school, the ball has been in his hand to take the game-winning shot with no time on the clock. He has only made 146 of those. He has missed over 700 times, but he has made 146. You know what they write about? When he make it. They write about when you make it. So guess what? When you get through failing, all you got to do is make one.
The fear of failure is actually rooted in the fear of rejection. We're afraid if we're not good and successful that we won't be accepted. If I fail my test, if I lose the race, or if I fail in any way that I'm going to be criticized and rejected, I will not be chosen. And people hate that feeling that nobody wants them.
It's a difference between failing and being a failure. If things don't work out, if you don't produce the results you want, that's all. But don't confuse who you are with the results that you produce.
For somebody going through tough times, for somebody struggling just to keep your head above water, you're smiling just to keep from crying. You're doing the best you can, but you put one foot forward and 2 steps are made backwards. You're trying, but things don't seem to be quite working out the way you planned. You thought you'd be in a different place at this season in your life. You're doing everything right, but you're still suffering.
So you got to decide, wait. Even if things don't work out, even if I experience defeat or failure, that does not make me a failure.
Creative thinkers don't fear failure. I firmly believe that overcoming failure is a key to success in life. But when it comes to creativity, the ability to be unafraid of failure is even more important, because creativity equals failure. Creativity requires a willingness to look stupid. It means getting out on a limb, knowing that the limb often breaks. Creative people know these things and still keep searching for new ideas. They just don't let the ideas that don't work prevent them from coming up with more ideas that do work. I believe creativity can improve a person's quality of life.
That's why it's good for us to have people in our lives. You can't bring everybody into your decision-making process, but it is good to have people in your lives that you don't mind running something by and saying, man, what do you think about this? A lot of times you're not going to want to hear what they say, but if it's somebody you trust, you ought to lean in and just listen a little bit more. What story do I want to tell later down the road? And so we have to remember that the decisions that we make today will be a part of our life story tomorrow. So as you're making the decision, you got to ask yourself, what story do I want to tell a little bit later down the road? And if what you're doing does not line up with what you think you want to tell a little bit later, then you might want to rethink what you are doing.
Learn from every experience. Big picture thinkers broaden their outlook by striving to learn from every experience. They don't rest on their successes, they learn from them. More importantly, they learn from their failures. They are able to do that because they remain teachable.
Everything you imagine is a preview to a coming attraction. Once you understand that, it opens up a wide range of things and possibilities. And God puts your real life in your imagination. This is serious what I'm telling you. Don't you think it's nothing else. Imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attraction. If you want to kill a big dream, tell it to a small-minded person. I walked in that house, man, and told everybody I was quitting my job to go be a comedian. Everybody in that house shot that down. My ex-wife shot it down. Her mother-in-law shot it down. My mama shot it down. It's 1985. Who you think you are? If I had listened to them, I wouldn't even be here today.
That kind of thinking can help you turn adversity into advantage. It can make you a winner even during the most difficult circumstances. If you desire to be a big picture thinker, then get out there and try a lot of things, take a lot of chances, and take time to learn after every victory or defeat.
What is not okay is that when you fail, you stay down. Whoever stays down is a loser, and winners will fail and get up, fail and get up, fail and get up. You always get up. That is a winner.
And you've got this plan, you've got this aim, this target that you got to stay committed. With tears in your eyes, you got to be committed when your brain is hurting. You got to be committed.
A good father. And sometimes I'm tired. I don't feel I have the strength. I don't feel that I'm good enough. But I realize that doesn't mean just because you don't think you're good enough doesn't mean you can't be good.
To a homemaker, it probably means that she has a well-run household and a wonderful family. To an outside professional, it's most likely the thrill of closing a major contract.
You might have more talent than me. You might be smarter than me. But I will not be outworked, period. It's such a simple, basic concept. As the guy who is willing to hustle the most is going to be the guy that just gets that loose ball. There's only one thing you cannot purchase. There's only one thing you cannot buy, and that's what real peace do. That's something you're going to have to do. You got to put more energy, and you got to put more effort in your stuff than anybody, so you're getting up at 4.
When you haven't gotten sleep in a few days, you got to be committed. You got to plow through that depression, that heaviness, that weariness, and you got to cling to the joy of the thought of the future that if you finish this course, then there is a reward at the end of this pain. You may feel as though you are not able to breathe now. You may be inundated with responsibility, and it seems as though there is no way out of this. You have to be grateful for the ground that you've gained and guard the ground that you've gained. Celebrate the small wins. If we keep looking at the big picture, if we keep looking at the end game, if that's all we fix our eyes on,
doesn't mean you can't be great. Doesn't mean you can't carry on. Every battle that you fight in your life doesn't mean you're going to always win that battle, because there are going to be many battles that you're going to have to fight. And every battle is not meant for you to win. Sometimes these battles are meant for you to learn. They're meant for you to grow. They're meant for you to understand that you can still keep moving as long as you believe. So yes, I get tired. You will get tired. Yes, you will question your abilities.
Then we'll get off kilter. We'll lose our footing and we'll walk around discouraged, because you're not going to just wake up in one day and fulfill destiny. It's the process that's perfecting us. It's the ins and the outs and the nuances. It's the song and the dance between destiny and the journey and the process and the promise. And we've got to learn how to execute the day. Give us this day. You got to learn how to execute the day, that you conquer the day. I'm not where I'm supposed to be, but I'm not where I used to be. And so we've got to celebrate the small wins, those mental wins, those emotional wins, those relational wins, those financial wins, those spiritual wins. We've got to celebrate.
Yes, you will start thinking to yourself that, hey, I'm not ready for this. The fact of the matter is, when you were born and you were ready. If you made it this far, you were ready for something even greater. But when that weakness starts to show up, when your mind starts to play tricks on you and starts to lie to you and say you're not worthy, you have to understand that you got to take control of your thoughts and your mind and your process and your abilities. Because every test is either meant to be passed or meant to be failed. And you can't be in the business of failing every time you get put in a position where you're being challenged. Can you go on? Absolutely.
You read the book once and you didn't get it. Read it twice. Read it 3 times if a person leaves. At 6, you leave at 8. If a person makes 100 calls a day, you make 200 calls a day. If somebody practices 3 hours, you practice 5 hours. If somebody practices 6 hours, you practice 8 hours. If someone reads 2 books, you read 4 books. Just do a little bit more because there's somebody out there who wants your spot, and so you gotta embody excellence.
Or the pride in accepting a performance bonus, or being named the top producing salesperson. But the one thing you will hear from everyone who is successful is that they are happy with who they are and what they are doing. They are happy, content, satisfied. Success is a pleasure. What have you done today that makes this day successful? Think about it and write it down. If at the end of the day you can jot down the things that have made it a good day, you will soon see patterns forming. This really is a good habit to get into. When you can see a pattern of pleasure, you'll know you're on the road to success.
They want me because I'm anointed to co-sign what they're doing. That's it. They like, E.T. got a relationship with God. If E.T. says it's cool, then it's cool. Are you hearing what I'm saying? I'd rather do elementary kids than grown men. Elementary kids, they've been broke, but they ain't broke yet. Grown people broke. It's easier to help somebody who is broken at a young age than a 50-year-old, a 40-year-old, a 30-year-old. You understand what I'm saying? So what I'm telling you to do, since you hate being told what to do, you're going to have to fix yourself since you don't like nobody else telling you what to do. There's something that is blocking your next level, and it's you, and you want to keep saying it's somebody else.
There's one thing to be hungry. It's another thing when you're starving for greatness and starving for success. You start train like it's your life, not a game, like it's your life. Like this, the last opportunity, only opportunity, see a guy like me. I knew someone was better than me. There's more talented people than me, probably more talented than you, but you might outwork me for 30 days or 60 days or 90 days. But you ain't gonna beat me over a year. You can outwork me over 2 years. You're gonna work me over 3 years. I might get you eventually. I'm a dripping damn faucet. I just keep coming at you.
So take note of Mr. Franklin's 3 principles of success and ambition. Number 1, big achievements come one small advantage at a time, one step at a time, one day at a time. Number 2, you have the power to mold your life, to make it whatever you want, to shape it and reshape it. And number 3, success is measured through pleasure. This is the key one. Success is measured through pleasure. You've got to be happy along the way. You've got to learn to give yourself a pat on the back. Good job, you need to tell yourself. I'm proud of me today. You've got to be happy. You've got to learn to enjoy the process. These are really common sense ideas. They're practical. And William James agreed. He's another American great, one of the most notable philosophers and psychologists in our history.
People like E.T., I want to do what you do. No, you don't. I'm my own boss. When I worked at Michigan State, I had to be to work at 9 o'clock. When I work for myself, I get up at 3. When I worked at Michigan State, I get to leave at 5. When you work for yourself, you don't have no time when you get off. You don't get off. You stop when the work is done. I work harder for myself than I did and you talking about you want to work for yourself. No, you don't. You can't show up for another man. I'm just being real. There are those of you who work for yourself, you don't even have a plan. You don't even have like a vacation package for yourself. You just get to get off whenever you want to. What kind of job is that? You can just take off when you want to? That ain't no real job. You ain't got no insurance. You ain't paying yourself. But when you had a job, you could get there for them when they wanted you to get there. Oh, you had to tell them when you was gonna be sick, when you want, but for yourself, you ain't gotta do nothing.
You might think I'm knocked out, I just keep coming. I'm too damn tough to give up. Most people have ass. Half their life, all the time, I knew they were gonna get tired, they were gonna flinch. They were gonna get down, they quit. Improving themselves, they start sleeping. And they spend all their damn money. I'm not gonna do that stuff, let's save money. I'm gonna get up early, I'm gonna keep getting wide, I'm gonna stay relentless. It is the process of the grind that shapes you and forms you. It's not the game, and that's why most of y'all get beat in the cave or make mistakes in the game.
You can get discouraged a lot of ways, but the one surefire way to avoid discouragement, first of all, let's understand something. We're all participating in this thing called life, all of us. Life has ebb and flows, mountaintops, it's got valleys, it's got thunderstorms in it, earthquakes. This life, you stop expecting it to go smooth. because it ain't finna go smooth. The road to success is always under construction. Ain't no, this life ain't set up to be smooth. You combat negativity and you combat discouragement with gratitude. It's the one way to combat discouragement is with gratitude. What messes you up is you focus on the thing that's not happening. And that causes you to get discouraged. So whenever you get discouraged, you have to change your focus from what's not happening to what has happened.
If you have a business, you're gonna have to work for it. If you have a healthy relationship with your children, I've made up in my mind that nothing's gonna stop us from having a daily relationship. I will do whatever it takes, make whatever adjustments I need to make. So it's gonna be a dog fight, but I'm telling you from personal experience, you don't have to start with anything. I'm a living example. You don't have to have anything to get started, not even a daddy. No, I'm being real with you. Not a bank account, not a name, not a camera. We didn't have a camera when we first started. Not even business cards. We still don't have business cards. You say, how are you so successful without business cards? I don't know. We just say, here, take our number down. If you're serious, just here. Here's my number, call me. So number one, you need to be very intentional. I'm gonna give you 3, 4 things. I'm gonna let you go. The first one is you need to be very intentional and deliberate. And what I mean by very intentional and deliberate is, please, you have to hear this.
And we have to get to the point where we're willing to impose our will on certain things. Impose your will on them. My life totally changed. And they gave me an opportunity to stop. And most people, when you give them an opportunity to stop while they're chasing something, they take advantage of it because they feel as if, man, why did this have to happen to me? I felt as if, why not me? This is the perfect opportunity to use this to be a blessing to somebody else. And you know what? It's not even about me to be truthful. It's not even about me now. It's about repaying the people that invested in me and saw something in me when I couldn't see it in myself. At a certain point in life, it can't just be about you. And the moment that we understand that, and every day we wake up, we understand that life is a blessing and life is a gift. And if you were to check out today, how would you want to be remembered? It's bigger than you.
I believe in rugby that both teams are professionals, correct? Listen to me, both teams are professional. Both guys have, started young and they all have, are all, physically able to play the game. But what happens is you have one team that's good in spurts. You have another team that's dominant. Come on, hear what I'm telling you. When I say I need you to be intentional and deliberate, hear me, I want to paint the picture. You have one team that has the ability to score. They have the ability to do well. They have the ability to score on the opponent. What their challenge is that they can't do it, they can't sustain it. The teams that are dominant, all black, dominant, because they can do it from beginning to end. Right, listen to me, and they can do it team after team after team. Right, they can do it over and over and over. They dominate because they put pressure on you from the time you start to the very end. Like, even when they're up, they continue to dominate. And your problem is you're not intentional and deliberate.
Everything that you are seeking in your life requires your full, undivided attention. If you're giving all of these things that are coming at you, all of your energy, then you will lose. You're gonna struggle. You're gonna have to fight sooner or later. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be a physical fight, because nothing can move unless the mind and the soul and the heart is attached to it. If you don't commit to these things, then you will lose. I love you guys very much. Coach Payne out. Conduct your business.
You wake up on Monday and you might be strong, but by Wednesday, somebody told me, E.T., it's Wednesday, it's hump day. I said, I thought every day was hump day. It's hump day. I thought Sunday was hump day. I thought Sunday is where you really get started. Are you hearing what I'm telling you? You're not intentional and deliberate. You are hoping that the best is going to happen to you, and the best never happens to you.
And it straightens you out immediately. Because what causes the downslide is if you get wrapped up into what ain't happening, it get ugly, man. And it just snowballs. But you have to focus on gratitude. People don't understand how serious gratitude is. You know, it's a serious principle of success. It's hard to be miserable and grateful at the same time. You know, I learned this at my mother's funeral, man, which was like the roughest. That week of my life was like chaotic, man. I thought I was gonna die. My mama passed, I was 40. I didn't do good, man. I thought I was crumbling. I really, man, I didn't know what that was, man. The most important person to me was gone. I was crushed. I thought I was gonna die. And at the funeral, my mother was a Sunday school teacher for 40 years. And I'm devastated. My mother's in a casket. That's just not the picture I ever wanted to see, right? And I was struggling with her being up there. And the preacher stood up and he said, I know y'all hurting. I got 2 brothers and 2 sisters. He said, but I want y'all to look around at this church. My mama had been a Sunday school teacher for 40 years. Church was packed. It was packed. He said, the overflow room is full. He said, we've put up projector screens in the parking lot. We don't do that on Easter. We just set up projector screens in the parking lot because so many people came to see your mother off. He said, because your mother meant something to everybody. My church, my mama's funeral was filled with the hood, the gangsters, the pimps, the hustlers, the dope boys, the police, the politicians, the church people.
I'm doing all the right stuff. I'm not hurting nobody. I'm finding folks' wallet, and I'm finding a way to get their wallet back. I'm not disrespecting females. Like, I'm trying to do all the right stuff. Why am I broke? And God said, being a good person, son, has nothing to do with making money. That's absolutely, you're a good person, and you're going to be rewarded for that. Ask CJ, I can lose my computer, and somebody's going to send it back to me. I lose stuff all the time. I'm like, all right, I'm not going to lose people, but I'll lose stuff. It's like, it's not that deep. Listen to me. I'll leave money I'll leave money, not even in a wallet, just money sitting there. And I'll come back and somebody says, did you lose some money? I'm like, it didn't have my name on it. Like, I'm being honest. The Beats by Dre, I left them on the plane the other day, did some work, came back. I just randomly walked up to 48, exit gate 48, randomly just walked up and said, I lost some headphones. And he said, oh, are they black with red? I said, yeah. He said, I think that they're down in the security. I'm like, security? That's 2 miles from here. I got to catch a plane another 15 minutes. He said, oh, I'm sorry. What's your name? I said, Airtown. He said, oh, they're right here. We're talking about in Los Angeles, California. I randomly walk up to a gate and this guy just happens to have my